Two lost souls searching for salvation in a foreign city. Irina is a woman from Eastern Europe who came looking for a new life, but found Tony, a local businessman and family man who did not leave her unnoticed. A motel. Their long, heated conversation where Irina bares her soul and loses the most precious thing she came with to build a new life. Tony sat in his office, leaning on the desk, his eyes tiredly staring into the void. Thoughts about family, business, and how everything was starting to spiral out of control swirled in his mind. His wife, Carmela, had been looking at him coldly more and more often lately, and the children seemed like strangers. He felt like he was losing himself. Meanwhile, in a small cafe on the outskirts, Irina wiped tables, trying not to think about debts and fears. Her eyes, though tired, sparkled with hope. She dreamed of a better life, but every day brought new challenges. Irina was a young woman from Eastern Europe. She came to America with her husband Thomas, hoping for a new life, but reality turned out to be harsh. Working as a waitress, constant debts, fear of the future, all of this weighed heavily on her. Her eyes often reflected fatigue and longing, but she tried not to show weakness. Thomas worked construction, but constantly spent all his free money on alcohol and cigarettes, giving neither time nor resources to his wife. One evening, when Tony came into the cafe to have a cup of coffee, their eyes met. In her, he saw something more than just a waitress, a reflection of his own vulnerability. She noticed his fatigue and tension, and a quiet connection arose between them. "Coffee," she said softly, placing the cup in front of him. "Thank you," he replied, without looking away. A pause filled with unspoken words hung between them. "Do you come here often?" Tony asked, trying to start a conversation. "Every day," Irina smiled. "It's my job and my life." Tony nodded, sensing a whole story hidden in her words. "Life can be tough," he said. "Sometimes you just want to walk away and forget everything." Irina looked at him with a slight sadness. "I know what it means to be trapped. You're not alone." Thus began their connection, quiet, cautious, but growing more significant with each passing day. At first, they had casual conversations about life, fears, and how no one truly understands. Tony shared his problems with family, how hard it was to run a business and be a father at the same time. Irina shared her dreams and disappointments, about how hard it was to start over in a foreign country. With each day, their meetings became more frequent and personal. Tony felt that with Irina, he could be himself, without masks and roles. But deep down, he knew it was dangerous for him, for her, for his family. One evening, after an especially hard day, Tony called Irina. In the motel, under the dim lamplight, they sat close, words unnecessary. I don't know how to handle all this. Family, work. I'm losing myself," Tony began. "You don't have to be alone," Irina whispered. "I'm here if you want." He took her hand, and in that moment it seemed the whole world froze. But deep inside, Tony knew. This connection was playing with fire. He saw how Carmela looked at him with suspicion more and more often, how the children drifted away. Irina was fighting her own demons, a husband she might no longer love, new fears in a new country. The morning after that stormy night in the motel was quiet and tense. Tony and Irina were getting ready to leave and start a new day, but an unclear anxiety hung in the air. Tony promised to take Irina to work, to the small cafe where she spent most of her days. As they approached the cafe, Irina caught sight of a familiar car slowly approaching from the other side of the street. Her heart skipped a beat. It was Thomas, her husband. He was following them like a shadow that couldn't be shaken off. Irina froze, watching from the cafe window as Thomas got out of the car and headed toward Tony's parked vehicle. The tension in the air was palpable, almost tangible. "Tony," she whispered, "what's going to happen now?" But Tony was silent, his gaze cold and focused. Soon, a fight broke out between Thomas and Tony, sharp, brutal, full of accumulated pain and anger. People scattered, and the noise attracted the attention of passers-by. Within minutes, the police arrived. Officers quickly intervened, separated the fighters, and took both, Tony and Thomas, to the station. Irina was left alone, with a broken heart and emptiness inside. She never saw Thomas again. He never returned home, as if he had vanished into thin air. Tony also disappeared from her life. Calls went unanswered, messages undelivered, and no hope for explanations. In this city full of shadows and lies, Irina was left alone, with memories of the night that changed everything, and questions that might never find answers.